Hi everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It is Thursday morning, and I want to talk about an article in the Daily Mail online. Richard Eden has written an article stating that Harry and Meghan have bought a holiday home in Portugal. Now, he goes on to say that Eugenie and her husband have a home in Portugal as well, and they split their time between London and there, and apparently they're in kind of a resort area, I would imagine, gated community kind of a situation, right? A very luxurious compound kind of place. And he goes on to describe that and stuff. So the inference is that that's where Harry and Meghan have moved in, perhaps to be close to them. But he doesn't actually say that that's where they've bought a home. Just Harry and Meghan have bought a home, and Eugenie and her husband Jack Brooksbank live here, and this is what it's like. So there's no real truth, no real information. I mean, Richard Eden, yeah, he's got an inside track, but he doesn't know where they've bought a home. So there's more that we gotta wait and hear about this. Now, where did Richard Eden get his information from? Could this be another ploy put out by Meghan and Harry and their people just to get them in the news and make them seem relevant? I mean, of course, we've seen a lot of William in the news lately. So do Harry and Meghan kind of feel they have to counter things? Perhaps is this all up to Meghan's doing? Because, of course, there's been a lot of, talk about Harry and Meghan's relationship in the first place. Oh, well, it's a kind of a professional divorce. They're going to do their own things. Well, what kind of shape is the marriages? There's all kinds of speculation. So perhaps is this a diversion saying, no, everything's great. Harry's bought Meghan and Doria a home in the sun, a home in Portugal. Now, why Portugal is another question, and what's really behind this story? Well, Portugal is a Commonwealth country, so there are ties to Britain. Portugal is actually, I think, the fifth most popular language spoken in a lot of African countries. There's a lot of trade. There's a lot of business and diplomacy between several African countries and Portugal as well. This could help Harry with his African charities and love of the African continent. Who knows? Another interesting thing about Portugal is that they've got a pretty open visa/residency kind of program. It used to be called, like a golden visa, like you could just show up and buy a home is all you really needed to do to get on your path to residency to live there. Now it's a little tougher. Now I think they're demanding investment in Portugal itself, like a business venture. What do you have to bring to Portugal, right? Well, and are you going to employ people? Well, just the fact that Harry and Meghan are moving, if so, to Portugal, they're going to need household staff. Their charities, Archwell and this, and who knows what. They're probably going to need some local staff to run their business grifting, you know. So could that be? And what is the impetus? Well, we know there could be issues with Harry's visa once Trump is reelected. Are they perhaps anticipating that and saying, you know what, we need a place to jump in case this happens? You know, it would also, the visa thing would sort it out in the States, and they'd, you know, Harry, they'd be able to move right into Portugal and be fast tracked to, if they wanted to, for citizenship residency within 5 years. This could help Meghan incredibly because she could never have gotten one on her own. But being married to Harry, it gives her an in. And within Portugal, they do share the freedom of the Schengen region. I think it's 10 European countries, could be more, that basically share open borders and freedom of travel between them. So Portugal is very popular. It's also, you know, so it's a sweet spot for a lot of reasons. It's still relatively cheap to move there, to live there, compared to some other European countries, although as more popular it gets, that may change. So there's a lot of advantages. If they were going to buy a home in Europe somewhere, Portugal seems like a pretty good spot. Now, I don't know how. This is the thing. Meghan, so far away from Hollywood, you know, the parking lots and the red carpet she's got to crash. There's not so much of it in Portugal. Of course, Lisbon is the capital city. Fashion and culture and the arts, and yeah, but I'm not sure that it's quite Meghan's scene. Europeans take, it's a whole different culture than Los Angeles and Hollywood. The only people that act like that are in Hollywood. You don't. That kind of culture isn't. I don't. Same thing, basically. You know, Meghan could never fit in England and fit into her role, and I don't know that Portugal's gonna. She'll be even more obscure in Portugal, even more away from the celebrity spotlight that she seems to crave. So I don't know if this is true. I don't know. Is it a diversion? Why else, you know, possibly could they go there? Well, you know, now if you want to strap on your foil hat. Because we don't know what's going on. Like I said, Portugal is a Commonwealth country. I have mentioned in a previous video that Charles, he's headed off already for the, or heading off tomorrow maybe, I'm not sure, but very soon, off to the Australian trip, the Australian World Tour, and they're going to also be stopping in Samoa for 5 days for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM. Very important. All the heads of the Commonwealth countries meet. King Charles is, of course, the head of the Commonwealth, as the Queen put forth her wishes before she died. You see, because the head of the Commonwealth is not automatically the monarch. They actually choose. The world leaders actually choose whom they want to be. Now, it had been, of course, Queen Elizabeth. It is now Charles. One would hope that the next head of the Commonwealth will be Prince William when he ascends to the throne. And I've mentioned at this head of government meeting that I think Charles is going to, you know, to make sure that's happened, to tie up any loose ends, that we have a declaration of whom may be the next head of the Commonwealth. And now, don't get me wrong, I don't think he would never. Harry's not in the running for that. But here's an interesting thought. And it's a time loop interesting thought. If you've looked at my time loop series, well, at one point when Edward and Wallace were kind of at loose ends and they were causing trouble for the royal family, they had to kind of find something to do for them. So through diplomatic circles and the prime minister and the king, and they came up with a scheme to make Edward the governor of the Bahamas and send Edward and Wallace there. So that's what they did. They gave him a role, so hopefully he'd be far enough away from England to not cause trouble locally. He'd be out of the spotlight so the king could reign without this over his head. And they, they could rest easy. He's out of the way. He's keeping busy. Could there be? Now, wouldn't that be something if there was a direct hit on the time loop and Harry actually be offered some kind of a title or position in Portugal to kind of keep him there? Can you imagine? I don't know, folks. I don't know. Maybe. We don't even know if they're really moving there. Is this a diversion? Or are they doing, saying one thing while behind the scenes maybe some kind of crazy deal is being struck? Are we gonna see a direct hit on the time loop? Are we gonna see Harry and Meghan, Harry being given some kind of a position in Portugal to keep him sort of busy, but give him somewhat of what he craves, a role within the royal family kind of thing, right? Even though this would be a way to do it and keep him at arm's length in the same time. If that were to happen, this would be huge. And it would mean all the work I'm doing is just amazing on this topic. So that is definitely one thing I'm going to be watching to see what comes of this whole Portugal story, because right now it is shaping up to be something very interesting if it's true. Only time will tell. Well, have a great day, everybody. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and please leave me a comment. I want to know what you're thinking about all this. Have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.